Hello and welcome to our third video for Google Sheets, our spreadsheet program. Today we're just going to go over a little bit more of that formatting, getting our worksheet to look a little bit more professional and polished. So here we have a lot of our data already inputted. We have our formulas there. It's just looking really, really rough. So I'm going to zoom this in just so we can see a little better. Things that are sort of popping right off the page right now is in this column G. We clearly don't have enough room for the text. So one of the things that we can do is to wrap that text. And if we go to format and text wrapping, then we say wrap. And what that does is it allows the text to go from one end to the other, but when it hits the edge, it doesn't spill out and over, it wraps around. So it will stay within that box. And if we add additional text, extra text, you'll see that the box actually adjusts the size around the text that's in it. So also our last header seems like that's also having the same feature. So we need to text wrap that, and now we can see the actual header. Typically your headers are going to be centered over your data. So we'll center those and maybe we can bold them up nice. We want to make sure that things that are dollars are being shown in dollars. So we'll highlight the price, cost, and profit. These are all going to be dollars. Units sold will not be, but it might be nice to throw a comma in here because we have a lot of digits there. So we can format our number and definitely include commas in that. Now, those extra decimals, they don't really make sense because we can't, this is, I think, salsa sales. So we can't have a decimal of a can of sales. So let's decrease the decimal places so that we're just in whole units. But it just looks a whole lot nicer to view that with the commas in there. Total sales, again, we're back to dollars. Both columns here will be in dollars. And now this is not a matter for text wrapping. This is, we actually have to adjust the columns. So let's get out our double-headed arrow. So we want to go in there. We want to kind of pull this to the right to give some more space to these values. And the percent of total sales, I don't think that we need to have this many decimal places. So let's tell it that it's a percent. And I feel like even one decimal place is probably good. We don't need the two that were there. So one thing that would be very typical of a report would be to have these summary statistics popping out at us. So we're going to want to probably add in some regular style borders around these boxes. And then maybe we can have a bolder box around these summary ones. Maybe we can bold the actual piece, or we can even shade in, these three. Might be nice to have that. And we'll just get, maybe we'll get just a little bit of a thicker line to go around them. And well, that seems like that might be just a bit much. We'll get the second one. Oops. That looks nice. We'll pull that guy too. So any of these other guys, we could, it's because the profit is a calculation based on the price and the cost. So technically these are also kind of summary statistics. So, you know, within we might want to identify some other calculations or summary statistics. Our titles typically would not be left aligned. They should be centered and centered over top of the entire table, if you will. So we'll highlight from the first cell on the left all the way to the last cell on the right. So right to the very edge of the table. And if you go to Format, Merge Cells, this will allow the text to be in one like mega cell, if you will. So now you can go in there and you can horizontally center that piece. So we'll do the same thing with the next one. Under Format and Merge Cell. And we'll center that as well. So we might want to identify some like interesting, make that a little bigger so that that name can pop out there. We might want to identify like some interesting sales, let's say, or, you know, top seller. So in order to do that and like, let's say have an arrow and maybe pointing at something, we would insert a drawing. So thinking back to Google Docs, we're going to insert the drawing and start putting some objects together. So we'll start with a text box that maybe says top sales. And with this text box, let's just tighten it up a bit so that that white space isn't there. This text box happens to not have a border around it, but otherwise you might have played already with the fill and the border. But this is good the way that it is. We can go in and let's say make an oval sort of shape around that that text. We'll fill that in, so that it's transparent. And then in terms of an arrow, we can find that here as an arrow. So if I remember correctly, it was kind of maybe something like that. So once you have your object created as you'd like, so we've put together 3 pieces, a text box, a shape, and an arrow. I'm going to use the select button just to drill in and really get those guys. So now I'm going to save and close, and that object now is going to be inserted into my, whoa, that's really big, into the spreadsheet. Let's see, I might have to edit this. I feel like it seemed like I needed that arrow to be just a tick longer, hey? So I'll just adjust. So we can make some, additional little footnotes there for our reader. And now we have a very professional looking report.